Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Arsenal 101 Premier League Review Show. How you doing, everybody? Hope you are well. Welcome into our action-packed show today. We should have a few on today. Andy, the Tottenham fan, will be here at any point in time. Welcome, Drew. How you doing?
No, I'm doing really good, actually, man. Guys, last weekend, one of the best weekends of Premiership football we've had in a long time. I said to you before we came on, it feels like an eternity ago because there was that many goals. I just want to say, though, and this has been bothering me now. Obviously, we get Arsenal fans. I'm obviously a City fan. We get Tottenham fans. We get Liverpool fans. We even get Chelsea fans. We had a Brentford fan. Why don't we ever get a United fan? I really need one at the moment. I need a United fan in my life.
The 1 week they had a good week. He came on, but he definitely wasn't having it this week. So yeah. And Neil, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, hold on one sec.
Technical hitch. Okay, we got him.
You lot are really, really quiet. I'm not sure why.
Okay, we can hear you loud and clear, buddy.
The internet.
Never mind. Can you hear us, Neil?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little bit more distant now.
I can't hear anything at all.
We can hear you fine. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Maybe dip out and dip back in, see if that solves it. Technical difficulties at Neil's end. Well, Neil's a Liverpool supporter, so he's going to have loads to talk about. Obviously,
just about
obviously about how many strikers they've got at Liverpool. It looks like every week they're just rolling them out for fun. And here he is, Andy, my fellow roving reporter. How you doing, pal?
You're very quiet.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit louder. We can hear you loud and clear, so hopefully I can resolve my sound issues by just talking a little bit louder. In the background, Neil, as I said, is hopefully Neil, how you doing? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yep. I can hear you now. I hear you now.
Okay, and we can hear you loud and clear. There. Lovely. So our panelists are all on board.
Wonderful.
Let's crack into this because we have
people on here.
We got a full house of people. We got a lot of football to talk about. Some great results from last weekend. Some not so great results depending on
only one great result.
And obviously there's been a bit of action in the manager front this week with a certain Mr. Koeman leaving his position. What's good, Cool K? How you doing? Okay, I'm definitely going to watch that one. Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it by one of my favorite producers, Ava DuVernay. So I'll definitely be watching that series on Colin Kaepernick. But yeah, as I was going back to the football, a lot of good stuff happening. Managers have been relinquishing their duties this week. So we'll have a little chat about that. Because I've got a feeling there's going to be a little merry-go-round of managers. Obviously, there are clubs now looking for managers, and you guys will have some thoughts on that. And then we'll talk about this weekend's fixtures. Once again, there's a full house of amazing fixtures to look forward to. So let's kick this off with last Friday, which, does seem like an eternity, as you said, Drew, since the weekend kicked off last weekend. What looked like a tricky fixture at home for Arsenal against what looks like a resurgent Aston Villa. We put them to the sword. Well, at least we did for the first half, 3-1. Anyone else other than myself care to talk about that result?
Do you know what? I was actually surprised with the result. I thought Arsenal would win, to be fair. I actually did think Arsenal would win the game. But I didn't think they'd win it by 2 clear goals in the end. Because that Villa team has been hella good for quite a long time now, and they've been getting better. Their players are all coming back to fitness. I genuinely rate Martinez behind basically. Well, there's only 3 keepers in the Premiership, I think, that are actually better than him. Obviously, Alisson at Liverpool, I can't keep mocking him. He is top class. Edison, obviously, at City, and I think Mendy at Chelsea are the only keepers in the Premiership better than him. So I think Arsenal got an absolutely fantastic result in that game. Absolutely fantastic.
No Arsenal fan thought we was going to win,
so,
and I think that's pretty. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember the season prediction or the predictions that were made by the Arsenal panel for the first 10 games, a lot of people didn't have that game as a result. I think I did. I think I had that down as a winnable game, and I think then I have tomorrow's game down as a 1-pointer, which is away to Leicester, first game of the morning. But yeah, I was pretty impressed by the overall game. One of the things that for me is that has happened of late with Arsenal is that Arsene Wenger, Mikel Arteta is actually fielding 5 of the players that he bought in the summer. So he starts the game with the goalkeeper, the right back, the left back, the centre midfielder. And it appears that he's getting his team on the pitch, and it's making a difference. And I know Apollo's quite keen to highlight that the first 3 games we had really big injury problems, and the fact that we played Man City with Said Kolasinac, who we've been trying to get rid of for the longest time in the centre back position, or left back anyway, highlights that those first 3 games were a very difficult time for us, with lack of the players that Mikel would have chosen to have in his first 11. But since then, we've gone on an unbeaten run, and we've looked decent in some of the games. I wouldn't say we've always looked good, but we have looked decent in some games, and certainly against Villa, we put in a really good performance that shocked a few people. Anybody else want to chip in on that result?
Yes, it was a good result for Arsenal. It was a good result. Villa have been slipping in recent weeks. They started the season, they had a bad start, and then they had a good little run, and now they've had a pretty bad run for 3 or 4 games. They've lost both to us and to you. Since they beat Man United, they seem to have gone backwards. It's quite bizarre, but they've got a good team. I think they will come good, but it might take them a little bit of time to find their rhythm.
Yeah. Is it a possible case, Andy, where beating United flatters to deceive?
Possibly. I mean, I don't think that they didn't. I think they did deserve to win that game, but I think they've got to. I think they've got a lot of good players. I think losing Grealish, Spurs had the same when Bale left and when Modric left. When Eriksen left, when you lose a real top-class creative player like Grealish that Villa did, even if you get lots of other players in who are good quality, it takes time to gel, to find the balance, get the balance of the team right when you're replacing it. I think they have brought in decent replacements in Buendia and Bailey and I just think that it's going to take them time to find a system of operation that's going to work for that team that they've got there. But hopefully they'll find it on Sunday and beat West Ham. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal have been improving. I still don't think Arsenal look sensational. I mean,
no.
Palace should have beaten you. quite frankly, you got away with the draw
Yeah.
in when you were a minute over the referee's allotted time. But you can't knock the fact that you're getting results and you're unbeaten now for what is it, 8 if you include the cup games in that.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean you're on a good run,
Cool.
and you've got yourselves back into contention for the sort of the European spots.
Yeah.
So
But
you know,
that list of teams in that contention, you know, is
well,
very
there's about 10 teams fighting
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So let's move on to Chelsea because you know there is so much that we got to get through. And I'm keen to not get on too much on one game. Chelsea absolutely smacked Norwich in the morning fixture, 7-0. Who wants to comment on that one?
Well, I don't know what Norwich think they're doing. It's like they just come up and it's like we'll just try and keep the score down every week. Really, they're not really make any great effort to have a go. I mean, Brentford come up, they're having a go. They may not win every week, but they're having a go and they're giving teams a hard time. You know, Watford have come up again. They may not win every week, but they're having a go and they've won a couple of games, drawn a couple of games. You know, they're having a go. I mean, but Norwich, they're just like, what's going on there? They're just like, they seem to go. To be fair to them, they've played City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. I mean, they've had a tough start to the season, so maybe they'll find their level. But they're playing Leeds tomorrow. I mean, if Leeds go there to Norwich and win, then you're just looking at it and saying, where are Norwich going to get any points from? You know, it's just they don't look like they've really made much of an effort. They've let Buendia go. Skip's come back to Tottenham. I don't know where Norwich. They don't seem to invest any money in the team. It's a bizarre scenario.
Yeah.
It is. I remember when we played Norwich. Daniel Farker came out after the game and he just made the point of City really only scored one goal against Norwich. Every other goal was the exact same goal repeated over and over and over again. And to be fair, 5 of the Chelsea goals were exactly the same as what the City goals were. You can literally kill the team off in one pass. It didn't help them, obviously, when they went down to 10 men. When you're playing a team like Chelsea with 10 men, you're chasing shadows already. Let's be honest.
But 4-0 down at that point.
Well, yeah. I've been saying for years we're going to get a team get promoted eventually who doesn't win a game in the Premiership, and I'm just looking at Norwich, and I'm kind of thinking, do you know what? This might be the team because I don't think I've seen a Premiership team this bad.
I kind of disagree with that. I think Norwich will win a few games this season. I'm not sure if they'll win enough, but
they need to get a win tomorrow against Leeds because Leeds are bang out of form as well.
You've got to look at you've got to look at the obviously the teams that they've played so far. They've played, you know, for a team coming up, that's the worst set of teams you want to start playing. You know, you want to hit the bigger teams probably halfway through the season if you're lucky. But they've got them in the first 7 games or 9 games or so.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to kind of judge Norwich at this moment in time. They've been purely through the teams they've played. They've just been unlucky. Yes, they've got destroyed by Chelsea last week, but we have to see what you know when they come against teams like Newcastle, Leeds. You know, even Everton aren't doing that great at the moment as well. And we'll have to see how they react to those sort of teams because they haven't played any of them yet.
Yeah, I mean, that game was just a completely one-sided affair. Obviously, Mason Mount scored a hat-trick. You know, England international. He seems to be hitting form right now. Anyone care to comment on his form?
Well, he hadn't scored. He hadn't scored since like February or something. It was a long time he hadn't scored for. But then he suddenly gets a hat trick against Norwich. I don't know how much you can read into that, but obviously it's good for him. His confidence, and he wouldn't surprise you if he didn't win. If he went on a little run then.
Yeah, but I mean, his form's been improving each week with Chelsea. So you know, because his form's been improving, he was bound to score at least one goal. The fact that he got a hat-trick last week against Norwich, you can't read too much into that. But we'll have to see what happens over the next few weeks, whether that form continues, or whether it's just like a one-off and he goes quiet again.
Okay. I mean, the thing that I will say is, he's getting regular football in a team that's full of real good players. You look at Chelsea's bench now, and it's stacked with riches. Anyone who can keep, the likes of Ziyech on the bench, you've got to say, well, yeah, you got to be earning your money there. The other player I wanted to mention was, Callum Hudson-Odoi, young Englishman. We weren't quite sure last season whether he was going to stay or go. Where was he gonna? Would he find his feet in this stacked Chelsea team? But again, another young English player who seems to maybe be stepping up now.
Yeah,
I need to see.
Like he's definitely stepping to. So I was going to say, Tuchel, he likes to play his players that are on form. He doesn't necessarily, even though he's got quite a few big names in it, he doesn't necessarily play them because of their name. He plays on form, and they've been benefiting from that since he's taken over, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I need to see Hudson-Odoi on the kind of form that he's been in the past few weeks. I need to see him do this now for a couple of months. Because it's clear that kid has got a huge amount of talent.
Yeah.
But it's been so stop-start for him. I mean, there's been little nagging injuries over the past couple of seasons as well for him. But also Chelsea haven't been the most stable club up until Tuchel came in, really. I mean, Lampard obviously brought in a lot of players when he was there. It's been a very up and down kind of environment at Chelsea. So I need to see Hudson-Odoi, because there's no doubt that boy has got a huge amount of talent. So I need to see him now for a couple of months just produce this kind of form repeatedly.
Yeah.
What's
your thoughts, Andy?
Again, yeah, I mean, a bit like Drew was saying, Hudson-Odoi, you get a list with a lot of younger players where they don't play regularly. So they come in, okay, he scores a goal against Norwich. Great. That's to be commended. But we're going to have to see it more consistently. And I'm not sure against better teams. And I'm not sure whether he's going to get the chance in Tuchel's lineup to do that. I hope he does. But I don't think it's any great surprise that he's getting his chance against Norwich. Okay. Whereas, I wouldn't imagine that he would have been playing if they'd have been playing City or Liverpool or another top side. Yeah. So it's a kind of, these players have got to find their way to establish themselves and make themselves undroppable. You see players around the place doing that in other teams. He's got to do that now, and he's got to make himself undroppable. And I'm not sure he's going to cut it at Chelsea. For me, he might be better going to play in a team where he's going to play every week, and he will develop much quicker where he's playing week in, week out, because that's how they get better. This is why a lot of these young lads are going over to Germany, Dortmund and one of these other places, because they're giving them the football at 17, 18, 19 that they just don't get in this country, because we have such a physical, powerful league that it takes them time to develop that. Whereas over there, they're getting the game time and they're getting the experience, top level football, and then they come back and then they do well. I mean, look at someone like Sancho. He's gone to United. He's hardly getting a game.
I'd blame that more on the fact that United had no transfer strategy when they brought Sancho in. They brought in Sancho, then went, do you know what? City are looking at Ronaldo. Let's get Ronaldo as well. United screwed the pooch completely with Sancho. I mean, I don't particularly rate Jadon Sancho either, but I think they fed him to wolves really by bringing him in and then bringing Ronaldo in straight away after. I think it is absolutely ridiculous.
Good point made by Stu there, by the way.
Yeah, anyone else notice how Maguire and Shaw are shitting progressive teams only play half decent when United and England play with a cowardice style. Yeah, I mean, Maguire's suffering at the moment, isn't he? Because he hasn't quite got to full fitness, and I think he's just being made a scapegoat, to be honest. But we'll get on to Man United. Let's move on. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, nothing game really. Don't think there's much to say about that with managerless.
Can I just applaud the Crystal Palace fans for their banner making skills?
Oh, that was superb. That was superb.
I missed that. What did it say?
It was in regard to their new owners and
It was possibly the best protest about the Newcastle ownership that I've seen so far. Which I'm not going to say live on a broadcast because I might get hunted down by any Newcastle fans that might catch it. But it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just Google it afterwards. It's brilliant.
You could also come across as a bit of a hypocrite as well.
Absolutely, I'm a hypocrite, but I really don't care anymore. They've got more money than us. It's going to get very school ground between me and Newcastle fans over the next year or two.
Okay, so we'll go on to Everton against Watford. That was a 7-goal thriller. Who wants to start us off on that one?
Big shock. I couldn't believe it when I saw that scoreline. They were 2-1. Everton were 2-1 up with about 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, they were, and then Watford took over after that. It
was an absolutely crazy finish to the match.
It wasn't even Watford taking over. It was from out of nowhere, Josh King. Genuinely, I think Watford fans must have been rubbing their eyes, just wondering who the hell they'd brought on. Because, I mean,
yeah,
he's a good footballer, but to get a hat trick against Everton in literally.
He played for last season.
Yeah. Obviously, Everton's bench obviously sat there thinking, is this the same guy?
Yeah.
Honestly, was it an 8-minute hat trick or something as well?
No, I think he scored the first one.
Did he net the first one?
Yeah, scored the first one on the 13th minute, and then he scored his last two on 80 and 86.
Yeah, I mean, they should probably have tested him for banned substances afterwards.
What are you trying to say?
I mean, he clearly had his Weetabix in the morning. Let's put it that was not the Josh King that any fan has ever seen before. I mean, I've got a mate who's a Blackburn fan, and Blackburn used to have him in the Championship, and even they have said how lazy and how poor he can be.
He did all right at Bournemouth for a period of time.
That's right.
Yeah. That 18-month spell at Bournemouth, he was good.
But then he kind of sort of lost his way a bit and ended up getting, going out to a couple of different clubs. And I mean, I know Spurs were interested in getting him at one point, and then it just all kind of faded away. He lost a bit of form, but I think we probably dodged a bullet there. But
he's a hot and cold striker, isn't he? I mean, I remember him having very good games for Bournemouth against us in the past. But yeah, he can go missing for, I think him and Callum Wilson are so very similar type players. You see him one game and the next two games they're completely missing.
But they were both at Bournemouth together, weren't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I compared them, because they're so similar. And that was the problem for Bournemouth. They had two good strikers, but they never were on the game at the same time. And
I think I'd put Wilson in a slightly higher category than Josh King, to be fair.
You think so?
He's more clinical, I'd say, with Wilson. He is more clinical.
Yeah, but
you put Wilson in a decent team, he's going to score plenty of goals.
Yeah, but when you're talking about that game last week, you've also got to not forget about Emmanuel Dennis as well, because he scored a goal and got a couple of assists in that game as well. So it wasn't just Josh.
I didn't even know who Emmanuel Dennis was until that game.
Neither did I until that game.
Nor did Claudio Ranieri, to be fair.
Yeah. He's thinking, how did that guy get on the pitch?
Dilly ding, dilly dong.
But then you got look. If you look at Everton's form anyway over the past couple games, they haven't been doing well anyway. I mean,
No.
they drew against United. They lost last week. Was it last week? And this week again they've lost. I mean, it looks as if since they beat Norwich, they've just had a bad run of form. So that's also part of it. Even though you can't take anything away from Watford. I mean, they did well enough to beat them 5-2, right?
Yeah. So then you've got we'll go Leeds. Wolves was a pretty nothing 1-1 draw, unless anybody's got anything to say about that one.
Yeah,
Good.
Nothing to talk about, really.
Southampton, Burnley, that has a few more goals. That was a bit of a ringed-in game. Anyone want to tell me about that?
The only thing I can say is the only thing that's saving Southampton this season is Burnley are definitely worse than them. So are Norwich. And I'd hazard a guess to say probably Watford will go down as well, even after the 5-2. So I think the only thing that's keeping Southampton up is there's worse teams.
I actually think Newcastle will go down, despite having all this money.
I was going to say that as well.
Oh,
they
don't get me wrong. I would love them to, but I can't say it too vocally because then I will just get that sour grapes thrown at me. Which I've been throwing at Arsenal supporters for the past couple of years, so I can't really do this.
Okay.
I think Newcastle got a big decision to make with who they appoint as manager for the rest of the season, because they really, however, whatever dreamland they want to live in, and that they may well get to in the next 3 to 5 years. Right now, over the rest of the last 30 games of this season, they've got to find somebody that's going to get them to finish 17th in the league. Simple as that. Anything else, nothing else matters to that club this season but remaining in the Premier League. If they do that, then literally they can just sweep the board clean in the summer and do whatever they want. But
they're gonna have to buy players in January. To be honest, I mean,
they're going to have to get a coach
at the moment.
That I believe they need to get a coach that knows the Premier League and knows what it takes to survive in the Premier League. And people are laughing, but I think they could do a lot worse than bring in someone like Allardyce. I don't think they're going to do it, by the way. But I just think for 6 months, whether it's Allardyce or whether it's Roy Hodgson or something like that. I know they sound like crazy ideas, but managers that know what it takes to get a team to finish 17th in the Premier League.
Yeah, but Newcastle, they're not going to go for a short term. They're not going to go for a short term manager. Newcastle are building for the future. They're not going to go for a short term manager, someone just to rescue them just for this season. Clearly, they've got a strategy in place. If they would, obviously they're after a manager, but if they were desperate at this moment in time or felt that they're desperate, they would have. We would have heard a lot of names that Newcastle would have been mentioning that they're going after at the moment. And they're not. For some reason,
what top club? I mean, short of them offering him £20 million, which of course they've got the money to do. But what top coach is going to want to go there now with the squad they've got now? They're not good enough. Simple as that. They're not good enough.
No, you're right. You're right. They're not good enough. But you see, that's down to Amanda Staveley and her team to actually put the confidence in whoever they approach to kind of say, well, look, yes, we know we're in a bit of trouble now, but we need you. And obviously, they're going to be offering the money for that position anyway. So whoever's going to be interested in that project, we still got to wait and see what happens. But they clearly are not in a rush at this moment in time because they haven't gone for anybody yet.
Well, I think they're not in a rush because no one can do anything until January. The problem is
managers. They can bring a manager in. They don't have to wait till January for a manager.
No, but what I'm saying is, if they don't bring in a manager before January, they could be in a seriously perilous position by then.
Could do. They could. They will get a manager in. They're just right now. They're considering a couple of options. They haven't mentioned anything yet, and I think they will bring somebody in within the next maybe 3 weeks or so.
I suspect they'll do it in the international break. I guess.
I personally think Newcastle could do a lot worse than bringing in Frank Lampard. Quite honestly, I think Lampard would be a good appointment for that club.
I'm not sure that's the right move. Might be long term, but
Yeah.
now they need someone that's going to keep them in the Premier League this season. I'm not sure Lampard is the man for that role.
Maybe they need two managers. This is a thought that, guys, I don't see why more teams don't go down this route. If you have a team that needs speciality coaches, yeah, I've always said this. Why don't clubs look at having a tandem of saying, well, we'll have a guy who's the manager for the team, but we might need somebody who is a defensive specialist. Yeah, in American football, you have offense coach, defense coach, and you have general coach.
This is a very, very American idea, but yeah, I mean, you're seeing more of it coming into the European game.
Look, you look at Man United under Alex Ferguson. He had 3 or 4 top managers working beside him, but we just didn't see.
Are we suggesting Steve McLaren might have been a top manager?
Okay, let's give Steve a break, guys. Come on. But yeah, if you want, you could say, like, look, bring Allardyce in to work on our defense, because I've even said I don't understand. Arsenal were piss poor at defending for a period, and I was like, why don't we just get either George Graham or Sam Allardyce in to coach them guys how to defend? Because they didn't even know the simple task of moving up as a line. And George Graham is a master of it. I, to this day, don't know how George Graham is out of work.
He's about 75 now, anytime.
Is he any younger than Roy Hodgson?
But yeah, I mean, Graham's not worked for years.
No, but the point is, he knows.
You don't need to when you get bunged that much, though.
Oh, true. Oh, dear.
I apologise for all offence caused with that one.
Someone had to go there.
He had to go there with the money bag story. Let's not talk about people throwing stash loads of money at people, shall we, Drew?
But we're blatant about it. We just it's only dodgy if it's in a brown envelope behind everyone's backs. I mean,
all right, then let's talk about your team then. 4-1 against Brighton. What you got to say about that?
I can't believe that Phil Foden was classed with having 2 goals when one ricocheted off his arse cheek and the other one got kicked into him by a defender. My dream team was very thankful for Foden being given 2 goals, but in a million years, he did not actually score a goal in that game, but he was phenomenal. I saw a lot of positive things though in Brighton, I will be honest. When Brighton come forward and they attack, Brighton are a very, very good team. The problem is, though, for a team like Brighton playing against City, they want to play possession football. There's only one football. So City just suppressed them, sucked the life out of them for most of the game. Kind of routine one. De Bruyne, though, when he was on the field, very average, which is not a good sign at the moment.
Every week, can he? I mean, you've got to realise these guys are not machines.
Well, you should be playing him.
I think he's still getting back from that injury that he picked up with Belgium, and I don't think City have rushed him back. I just think he's taken a lot more time than what we thought to just discover that touch and that form that he had, and just get that sharpness back in his game. When he does, I think it's a 2-horse race then for the title. Though I don't think it's Chelsea. I think Liverpool are the threat now. So war footing.
2-horse race, really?
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea are as good as Liverpool. And I don't think they're as good as City from what we've seen so far.
I beg to differ on that one. Anyone else want to beg to differ like me that Chelsea are legitimate title challengers this year with Lukaku up front?
Yeah, I think
the champions of Europe.
I'm not sure about Lukaku.
The champions of Europe added Lukaku to their team.
Yeah, but that's our fault that they're champions of Europe, quite frankly.
Yeah.
That was Pep over-tinkering that made Chelsea champions of Europe.
Yeah, but Pep is Pep, and he will do Pep-like things. So he's always going to throw some stupid curveball on one weekend, and lose you a game.
I know,
He
but
loses you games.
it's part of the excitement of being a Man City fan, to be honest.
Right. Tuchel is an absolute. He's Jurgen Klopp version 2. Because Tuchel doesn't mess around.
I don't know, but I wouldn't go that far yet. I wouldn't go.
I don't know. He messed around against City, and Chelsea could have been spanked by a lot more than just one goal.
Yeah, exactly.
He played a 3-man midfield against a team that's fluid.
I think with that one, City were so up for that after losing the Champions League final that, you know, I kind of feared that City were looking for retribution.
I'd go along with that point, yeah. that was probably the best I'd seen the City play for a while, so.
Yeah, let's move on.
But while you're talking about Lukaku, though, you remember what I said to you all at the beginning of the season when everyone was saying how amazing he was and and I was saying, look, I'm not saying he's not great, but I want to see how many goals he scores against top quality sides.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't done that.
He didn't score against Spurs, and he didn't score against Liverpool, and he didn't score against City. And he's not really pulling up many trees, in my opinion. He's a big brute, but I stand by what I said at the beginning. He's not in, say, for example, Kane's class or anything like that. He's nowhere near Kane in my eyes. Now, Kane's having a bad time at the moment, and so that's fine. And you could maybe say the same about Lukaku, but for me, Kane is on a different planet to Lukaku, personally.
You're using the wrong measuring stick, mate. You're using the wrong measuring stick. You're using the wrong measuring stick. For
what purpose?
Salah. Salah is the man that's running it at the moment. If you're going to compare him to anyone.
At the moment, if you compare Kane and Salah over the last 7 years, Kane's been better than Salah. Over 7 years.
I wouldn't say so.
But this season, yes, you're absolutely right. This season, Salah is head and shoulders above everyone else. But not for the last 7 years, he hasn't been.
No, how many seasons has Kane won the Golden Boot?
He's won it 3 out of the previous 6, and on 2 of those, he would finish in the top 4 and missed half the season. So I would say Kane arguably has the best ratio in 5 of the previous 6 seasons. But Salah has finished above him on a couple of occasions, that's true.
Right.
But I don't think you can compare Salah and Kane over the last 7 years. You can say in the last 3 years, yes.
It's difficult at the moment comparing the two because Kane's bang out of form, and I don't think Salah's ever been in better form. So it is hard to compare. If they're both on peak form, though, I'll be honest, I take Kane.
That's what I'm saying.
They're different type of players anyway, so it's difficult to compare the likes of Kane and Salah. But I'm talking about if you're looking at numbers, then Kane's record stands up. Well, Kane's record is the best fact in the Premier League over the last 7 years. Nobody's got a better record than Kane.
Okay.
So now this season, yes, Salah is fantastic, but Kane, if you go back to various periods over the last 7 years, Kane's been fantastic. Look at last season. He was a top goal scorer and the top assister last season in a very average Spurs side.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I think the difference is the way that the two teams play. So I think the goals are shared a little bit more at Liverpool, which means that Salah probably doesn't get as many chances as Kane does. I know Son's
Salah gets chances. Salah gets chances. Unfortunately, a lot of them he misses. He gets the chances. He does get chances. There was like a few seasons ago, they looked as if there was going to be a problem between him and Mane. He was getting so many chances.
Okay, let's move on to. We'll miss out the Leicester. Was it Brentford?
Leicester.
Can we just give like a special mention to Tielemans for another corking goal?
Oh yeah.
He's
He's
scored
becoming
three
Oh my
absolute
God.
worldies so far this season.
Yeah, he's becoming a bit of a specialist at that now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good win for Leicester at Brentford.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in a bit of decent form at the moment, Leicester.
Yeah.
Not good for us for tomorrow, but we'll see. West Ham against Spurs. Let's talk about that one, Andy.
I thought you might want to talk about that one. Yeah, I mean, basically, in my opinion, we were the better team over the course of the 90 minutes, but we lost 1-0. Simple as that. We didn't really create very much. We had 2 good chances in the first half with Son and Kane, but West Ham didn't do very much either. They started the game well. First 10, 15 minutes, I thought we were going to get beat about 5-0, but then it all calmed down and we took over in the first half. Second half, again, we dominated possession, but they caught us on the counter-attack a couple of times. And then Kane went to sleep for the corner. Antonio nicked in ahead of him. Reguilon gave the ball away, which led to the corner. But the problem is once they went ahead, as has been the case a few times for us this season, once we go behind against a half-decent, well-organised team, we don't look like scoring. They organise themselves defensively, and we don't have that creative spark to break teams down. So that is a problem. That is a problem for us, And Ndombele is playing better than he was, but
I mean, the thing I would say, Andy, is Spurs. You say they don't have the creation, but to my eyes, Spurs have got a lot of very good creative players in midfield.
Not the kind of Eriksen type player or a Modric type player. We don't have that.
Okay.
We've been very fortunate to have a whole load of fantastically creative players at Tottenham over the years. I don't see that we've really got that now. We haven't replaced Eriksen. We've never really replaced Dembele. Losing that, part of our midfield we've lost. Under Pochettino for 4 or 5 years, we controlled possession in football matches. We were having, if you look at our stats under Pochettino, we had 60% plus possession in most games. We ran games, and sometimes
we had 62% on the Sunday, so possession wasn't the problem.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm saying is part of the problem now is when we do get possession. I mean, even Declan Rice said he was very impressed with the way we managed. We kept possession of the ball. The problem is we're not really doing very much with it. We're stopping the other team we seem to be developing a system where we're comfortable in possession, but we've not yet developed the bit where we actually create a real problem for the other team.
So despite nearly having twice as much
few
possession as West Ham on Sunday, they had twice as many shots as you did. Shots on targets was equal, but the fact that they're creating shots tells you a lot. And
a lot of their shots were nothing shots, Tony. They weren't more dangerous than us on Sunday, but they won 1-0. So you've got to give them credit. They stayed in the game. They were very well organised. Moyes has got them into a very good unit, and I'll give them credit. They won the game 1-0. We didn't, so you can't really say very much. Because I've said to you before, I don't put a lot of stock by possession stats, because you can have the ball 80% of the time. If you don't have a shot on target, who cares? It doesn't make a lot of difference. But obviously, the more you've got the ball, the less the other team's got it, the less chance they're going to have to score. But West Ham are doing a bit of a Leicester at the moment, where they'll have less possession, but on the counter attack, they get a goal and they win the match. And I've got a lot of time for David Moyes. He's done a very good job at West Ham. They've got a very strong unit there. I think we've got some problems, but there is signs of us coming back to life a bit, but
Cool.
they're only signs at the moment. There's quite a long way to go. But
Who's
Romero
not?
and Royal have been good signings. Romero,
Okay. Who's
top
not performing? I mean, obviously Harry Kane's not performing. What's going on with Son?
Well, I think Son picked up an injury in the South Korean duty, and I'm not 100% sure that he's fully fit at the moment,
Okay.
Sonny. But I think they've been patching him up to play.
Okay. And
but
you mentioned
also,
the creation. You mentioned creation in the midfield. What would your starting midfield look like?
No, I think the team he's picking at the moment is arguably the best that's available to be picked. I feel for Dele Alli because I still think there's a player in there. You don't do what Dele Alli did for 3-4 years in the Premier League and for England. Remember, you know, being in the World Cup semi-final and all the rest of it. You don't do that without being a decent player. He's had some injuries. He's shot on confidence, but also we're not playing a style that suits him. Pochettino's style suited Dele Alli. High press, running around, getting chances, and getting into the box. That's what he's good at.
Yeah. What's the formation you're playing at the moment?
Playing him deep in midfield, playing him as a 6 or an 8, or basically playing him as a 10, but in a team that plays on the counter attack and doesn't get the ball into dangerous areas enough. That's not really what Dele Alli wants to do. So you can criticise him, but we're not really playing in a way that gets the best out of him. And we have got that problem at the moment that, in effect, I think we've got the wrong manager for the squad of players that we've got. Doesn't mean to say I don't rate Nuno. I think Nuno is a very competent manager, and I think he'll do all right given time. But it's not really what I want to see, or what probably most of the Spurs fans want to see. So I don't want to knock the guy because I don't think Nuno's done anything wrong particularly, other than perhaps a few naive substitutions or late substitutions. But long term, I don't see Nuno as being the answer of taking Tottenham forward because he doesn't play the style that Tottenham fans want to see.
All right, Neil, talk to me now. The greatest day of your life. Who did I hear? Someone said it was the greatest day, the third greatest day in Liverpool history. I was like, really?
I wouldn't say it was anywhere close to the greatest days. Yes, United are Liverpool's biggest rivals over the decades, and it's sweet to see 5 goals go in. It would have been sweeter had United been on form, but to be honest, they were just as poor as we were good. Yeah. I mean, from when like Shaw and Maguire kind of bumbled into each other and it cost them a goal. They were poor all over the place. By the time what's his name got sent off, I can't remember his name now. I've just got a mental blanket. Pogba. That's it was too late by then. But you see the attitudes. You see how they couldn't get the ball when they were struggling to get the ball. They were fouling. I mean, I think they got more yellow cards than we got goals in that game anyway. They did. After a while, I was just counting. I wasn't even watching the game. I was just trying to count up the amount of yellow cards they were getting. Maguire got one, Fred got one, Shaw got one, Fernandes got one, Wan-Bissaka got one, and Ronaldo got one as well, and that was a terrible one. And Pogba got sent off. So yeah, but it was a brilliant day. I wanted us to score a few more. We had the chances to score more. I was just realistically, I wanted us to score more goals than Chelsea did against Norwich, to be honest. So I was slightly disappointed that it was 5-0, considering. But then again, when you watch Liverpool play, the amount of chances we create and the amount of chances we miss, it was we were bound to score a load of games by getting it right against a team. Just didn't know it was going to be United last week. But yeah, it was really good. I mean, like, Firmino got his hat trick against Watford. Salah gets his hat trick against United. Keita scored a lovely goal, and Jota rounded it off. The amount of assists that we had. I mean, Salah obviously got an assist as well. Henderson got an assist. Arnold got an assist. Keita got an assist. Jota got an assist. We were doing well in our midfield and up front. So yeah, it was a lovely day, mate. A lovely day out, I should say.
Yeah. So I mean, Ollie's at the wheel.
Yeah, I'd like him to stay there for a couple more weeks as well.
We've seen a lot of memes around that this week.
I did not. When we were 3-0 up, I was saying to him, because I was part of an LFC group, I was saying we need to stop it here, because if we score any more, they're going to start asking for Ole's head. And while Ole's there, United aren't going to do anything. They've got all those stars and they can't do anything under him. At least let him stay till the end of the season if they're going to get rid of him, And that's what I want to see. I want to see United finish maybe 10th or 9th, and then maybe get rid of Ole. But then he'll probably go Newcastle.
I just have one thing to say about United right now, and Grind, don't take this the wrong way, Andy. I would love United to get a result tomorrow, even if it's just a draw against Spurs, simply because I would like Ollie to still be the manager when we play them the following weekend. Because I think you might have to import the scoreboard from the cricket ground into just to work out what the hell it's going to be.
I don't think, to be honest, by the time they play you lot, I don't think you lot are going to thrash them like that sort of score. You'll probably win. But I reckon it'll be something.
I think we'll rip them to shreds the way they're playing at the moment.
Yeah.
Because all you got to do against United at the moment, Alex Ferguson, and this goes back now to when we beat them 6-1 at Old Trafford. Now, right? This is how long these kind of results have been coming against teams like Liverpool as well. Alex Ferguson just told them, stop attacking, defend, when they were 4-0 down. And they didn't. And they got another 2 goals going against them. Last weekend, instead of settling down and trying to actually hold the score to a respectable amount, they just kept trying to be Man United. They haven't been a good swashbuckling, cavaliering football team for about 5 years, at least. So why the hell they're still trying to play this open style of football when they're getting dicked by their biggest rivals? It makes no sense to me.
Isn't it? It's very hard. It's very hard to get rid of that sort of type of play when you train that way and you train that way for a number of years. And when
the thing is, though,
sort of like bred into
none of these United players though were in a successful team at United apart from Ronaldo. But this has been a symptom of the way.
Pogba.
When's Pogba been in a successful United team as a starter?
Oh, no. Sorry, I meant.
Team. Oh yeah, Pogba's obviously won things with France and Juventus.
Yeah.
But most of the players in that squad, they've not been around sustained levels of success with a club. In particular, the United way.
Was part of the Leicester winning club.
Pogba was there in the Ferguson days, but in the background, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was under 21, wasn't he?
Yeah, but Maguire was part of the Leicester Premiership winning side, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
But it still wasn't. I'd still say it wasn't
sustained,
though.
Maguire wasn't in Leicester's Championship winning team, Premiership winning team. No, it was Huth. They had Huth and Morgan. Was that Championship?
Right. Oh Christ, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert Huth.
I think the short and tall of Man United right now is they can't,
Robert
Huth
is
for crap because they haven't got players who will defend. Ronaldo's not going to defend, and Fernandes is not going to defend. So you're starting the game with 9 players who can all go forward, but
And neither's Pogba.
He didn't start the game, did he?
As soon as Liverpool took the ball though last week, as soon as it went through United's midfield, I mean, granted, I'll be fair to Fred. He turned. He looked like he wanted to try and go and get the ball back, but he's still Fred. He's not going to affect a game enough to be able to stop any real attacking talent from destroying them. So they're just
Fred's there to spoil. He's there to spoil the game, though, isn't he? He's there to spoil the
Yeah.
midfield.
But he's
And
just
sort of
not good at
that's what
it.
he
He's
does.
not good at
So
it.
he'll
He's
go
not
in
good.
2-footed.
He's
Yeah.
the most
No, he's not
un-Brazilian
good at
Brazilian
spoiling,
you've
but that's
ever
his job,
seen.
though, right?
Yeah, he's the most un-Brazilian Brazilian you've ever
Yeah.
seen. So
He's actually started to make Fernandinho look like Romario. That's what Fred is doing for the Premiership right now.
Well, listen, he's at United. Let him stay there. I mean, they're doing fine with him. You
I
know,
want him to stay, and I want Ollie
Let
to
him
stay
keep
for
him.
a couple more months minimum, to be
Yeah.
honest. I need this pain to keep getting worse for them. Honestly, I spent 30 years of my life
Ollie
having to
needs to stay there
suffer
till the
them.
end of the season.
The problem we've got is we're playing them tomorrow. So I've got to be careful what I say because it could all come
So
back
let's
and bite
move.
me on the
Let's
arse.
move on then. Let's move on to tomorrow's fixtures. Obviously, tomorrow morning we kick off. Arsenal are away at Leicester. We've not had great joy there in recent seasons. Leicester are clearly on form at the moment. They've been doing quite well, but you know, I'm hopeful. I'll take a draw tomorrow. What do you guys think the result will be?
Hopefully, a draw.
It's a 1-1 written all
To be
over it.
honest, no, I can't see that being a draw. To be honest, I mean, Arsenal.
going for, Neil?
Arsenal are on the up at the moment. Arsenal 2-1.
Going for Arsenal. Andy?
They've just got the form. They've just got the form at the moment.
You're both a point behind us, so I'd be happy with a draw.
Okay. Cool.
I'd say there's only one way that I see Leicester winning it, though. If they finally just get Patson Daka on the field and let him go at a team in the Premier League. Because that boy...
Listen, no, what you don't realise, Drew, is Jamie Vardy can be cropped for 3 weeks and they'll bring him on with crutches and he'll score against Arsenal. He scored against Arsenal more than any other team. He just loves us. And we always seem to give him a goal. So he will score tomorrow. Is how many we can score.
I mean, they could start them both together. You never know.
They could.
They might finally realise that Iheanacho is not the player at City used to think he was.
What games can we talk about tomorrow? Obviously, the end game is Tottenham at home to Man United at R5. Let's get into that, guys. What's your predictions for that one?
I want a nice 0-0.
Neil?
Realistically, I do actually see United bouncing back 2-1 to United. Sorry, Andy, but
at Tottenham.
You don't have to apologise.
I don't want them to win, but I've got to think that with the players that they've got, you know, they will bounce back. If not tomorrow, they will bounce back next week. Not next week, the week after the City game. But I can see them getting at least a point against Spurs. But I think they'll take that 2-1.
I think, unfortunately, I'm going to go for Tottenham inflicting further pain on Ollie and him getting kicked out midweek.
I hope you're right. No. We don't want him kicked out.
Yeah, we need him for at least another week.
If he loses to Tottenham tomorrow, I think it's untenable, mate. I don't think he can stay.
Tony's doing the sensible thing about predicting a Spurs win, which means he either gets kudos because he got the score right, or he can be really happy that Spurs lose. Yeah.
Listen, I'll take pleasure in either of those teams losing. That's what you got to realise. I have I do hate Tottenham, but I have no qualm in saying I take pleasure at seeing Man United lose. But I'll be honest with you, I'd rather Liverpool lose than Man United because I hate Liverpool more than I hate Man United.
I think tomorrow could be quite weirdly a case of which team wants to get their manager the sack more than the other team.
To be honest, I think
it's a question of whether the United players have been, stirred up by the Ferguson's visit to the training camp during the week to try and get a bit of camaraderie back into the team. If Man United want to play tomorrow and are not still thinking, well, we get Ollie one more defeat, and they'll go out. We'll be able to get someone else in. Then maybe they'll win. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they just think, well, if we lose, what was Ferguson's old phrase? Come on, lads, it's Tottenham. That was Ferguson's favourite phrase back in the day, wasn't it? And if they want it badly enough, I'm not sure that we will be able to stop them. But
you should
I
feel
think
confident.
the question is, do our players want to get rid of Nuno? Because there's rumours that the players aren't overly happy with his tactics and his style of play. But I don't think Levy's going to get rid of Nuno anytime soon. I don't think that one's as close as, say, Solskjaer might be at United. So it's a big one. I think we've shown a few signs of life. I would like to think we can go out there and win tomorrow. And hopefully take advantage of problems in the United camp. But honestly, if United came and beat us, I wouldn't be shocked. So
I think the rest of the results for the rest of the fixtures for the weekend are fairly innocuous in terms of places, and I don't think there's anything that stands out that makes you think, oh, there's a game that could be a barnstormer. Burnley, Brentford,
Chelsea, Newcastle game.
Going to win that one.
I think the Villa West Ham one could actually be a bit of a.
Yeah,
it could be a game. I reckon.
That could be Villa West Ham on Sunday. Could be an interesting game.
But Liverpool Brighton.
Liverpool Brighton. Liverpool at home gonna stomp all over Brighton. I know like Brighton have been.
I don't think we'll stomp, but I think we'll beat them. I
think there's 3 goals in there at least. I think at least 3 goals in that game.
I hate to say it because I don't ever want Liverpool to win particularly. Sorry, Neil, but yeah, no, I don't see Brighton getting near to them. I think you'll probably beat them worse than what we did.
Chelsea will go to Newcastle. Right. They'll stomp all over Newcastle.
Do you know what? I'm hoping they don't,
Although Newcastle, funnily enough, Newcastle are a bit of a bogey team for Chelsea at St James Park.
I'm hoping
but I can't see the current Newcastle team doing anything to Chelsea, to be fair.
Come on, Jed, be optimistic. Be optimistic, man.
Joel Linton can rip them apart at any moment. You never know. He's like a footballing punchline. I love him.
Obviously, Watford coming
don't
off
forget
of 5
St Maximum as well,
Yeah.
Watford coming off of 5 goals last week. Watford at home to Southampton. Anyone pick against Watford?
2-1 Watford.
Well, I don't know. I think Southampton are a strange one because when they click, they can still be quite strong, Southampton.
Yeah.
But they need that new centre forward to score a couple more goals. He looks quite useful, I think. Is it Broja, whatever his name is?
Yeah. I think it's early days. I don't think they've quite settled him in yet.
I don't think I think they've lost Vestergaard. Losing Vestergaard and Ings, I mean, they were 2 big players for Southampton. It's not easy to adjust to losing those kind of players. With the squad that they've got.
Well, they lost their best midfielder to Spurs last year when Højbjerg left. They've just lost their best striker with Ings, and they lost their best centre half with Vestergaard. Like in the space of 18 months, they've had the entire spine ripped out of that team.
And they haven't really replaced them with like for like quality.
Yeah. And then
can we just say something though? I think Wolves are going a bit without a mention. Like the Wolves have been going on. They had a bit of a rocky start, but they've been having quite a good run because they're in that mid-table position now as well.
So Wolves play on Monday night against Everton.
Everton
again, a nothing fixture for me. I just 2 mid-table teams hitting each other. Wolves at home. Pick them for me.
I think to be fair to Everton, not having Calvert-Lewin They've had some terrible injuries. Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison out, and now Decore, I think, is injured as well. They've been a bit unfortunate with key players.
Bet they're wishing they kept on a Josh King now, aren't they?
So, gents, that's the football for the Premier League matters concerned. Did want to quickly just get your thoughts and feelings on Barcelona and the conveyor belt of managers that are about to swarm down.
It'll be Xavi, won't it? They'll get
I don't
Xavi.
think he's ready.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ready, but he's had more experience than what Pep had when Pep took Barcelona over. But there's one big difference.
He definitely did.
Pep had a lot more money to spend because Barcelona weren't nearly 2 billion in debt, and that's the big difference.
Yeah, Pep also had a championship winning side.
Oh yeah. Pep inherited a much better squad than what Xavi's going to be getting.
He also had a little fella called Messi and another one called Iniesta. And another one called Xavi.
He also had Xavi as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And possibly my favourite bastard in football in Busquets, quite frankly. So every team needs that player that you hate, and Busquets is that man, and he's been brilliant for the past decade.
So I don't see Xavi being the answer, although the links are very strong, and I think he's possibly the most likely player to go and manage there. Who do we see going to Newcastle?
I don't see anyone at the moment.
Some of the outliers like Allardyce and who can go there?
I've heard that they've been talking to Fonseca.
Yeah, and
that's a good appointment.
If as I feel,
but then the thing is,
tomorrow and Ollie gets kicked out, then Man United have got to be knocking on someone's door, surely.
Well, apparently United want Pochettino or Conte.
I saw this about Poch the other day to United.
Poch isn't leaving PSG.
No.
There's no way on God's earth he's leaving PSG.
When you get to drive into work every morning. No, if you get to drive into work and you just pull up, you're in your car parking space, I'm just going to work with Mbappe and Messi today. It's not really the same saying, I'm going to work with Harry Maguire. There is no way that Pochettino leaves.
Ronaldo, Fernandes.
Fernandes.
No.
Oh, he's a poor man's De Bruyne. Shots fired.
No, I think
every time I insult Fernandes, I do feel a little bit bad, but
Fernandes
he can't play in the same team as another superstar player though. So
who's their superstar player? Pogba.
At United, he's now got to deal with having Ronaldo in the team. And granted,
it's been a problem for Fernandes since Ronaldo's come in. Fernandes has sort of disappeared into the shade a little bit. Whereas when they started the season, you remember Fernandes got that fantastic hat trick against Newcastle. The lead for Newcastle at the beginning of the season, and he looked sensational. And Pogba did all the assists, and Fernandes got all the goals.
Yeah.
Since Ronaldo's turned up, well, Pogba and Fernandes have sort of like disappeared from the limelight a little bit, and I'm not sure they're that keen on it.
Yeah. Gents, we've exhausted our time. If you can give me your closing comments, start with you, Drew.
Do you know what? I'm hoping that we have another weekend of quality like we had last weekend. 4 goal a game average again would be lovely. I doubt it's going to be that high because this weekend's games, there's nothing quite as exciting as what we had last weekend. So let's hope to be surprised by something, and let's hope Polly's still in the job next week.
Spurs can do us the favour by thrashing United 5-0 again, right? And then it will be exciting, right?
Right, yeah, right. If Spurs do win, don't get me wrong, I will actually do a little bit of a cartwheel. I will be extremely happy. But if it is then the catalyst to get Ollie fired and get United to have a little bit of a bounce back against City the following week, less happy I will be. So I would like a 0-0 if Spurs could arrange that for me, and it'd make me very happy because we can get Ollie fired the following week then.
Okay, Andy, what's your closing comments?
Obviously, just hoping we put in a performance against United tomorrow. They've had a week to prepare because they're out of the Carabao Cup. So we played Wednesday night at Burnley. So we've had less preparation time. But at the end of the day, that's what your squad's there for. I'll be interested to see what starting 11 he picks. Whether he rotates anything because they played in the week, or whether he just goes with the same 11 again. So it'll be interesting to see, and I'll also be interested to see what team Ollie picks, because that could be quite telling as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Pogba, though, he's got that 1 match suspension, isn't it?
Who?
Pogba's got 1
I
match.
think he's got 3.
He's suspended, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's got 3 match suspension.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but I think that could be a big game. It could go either way. Hopefully we nick it. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't. I would like Liverpool to beat Brighton. I would like Leicester to draw with Arsenal, and Villa to beat West Ham. That'd be a good weekend.
Cool.
Yeah,
Neil.
A good weekend for me. A good weekend for me would be obviously Liverpool beating Brighton, City dropping points to Palace, and Chelsea dropping points to Newcastle. That's what I'm hoping for.
2 hopes.
Probably it's only going to happen in my mind. Yeah. It's going to happen in my mind anyway. So I'm going to be dreaming about it tonight. But yeah, I'm hoping that Spurs, even though I think United will win, I'm hoping Spurs do actually beat them. But I want Ollie to stay. That's my highlight will be Ollie staying. As long as he stays, that's fine.
As long as possible.
Gentlemen,
Till the end of the
thank you
season.
very much.
He's got to
for
stay
your
till the
time.
end of the season.
Gentlemen, thank you very
All
much
right,
for your
gents.
time this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. Hope you have a lovely weekend and all your results that you foresee come true, apart from Andy's, because I know he doesn't want Arsenal to ever win. So yeah, have a great one, and we'll hopefully see you guys next Friday.
Take it easy.
Cool.
Bye.
Have a
Bye,
good one,
everybody.
gents. See you later.
Take care.